Welcome to Fishing Texas from Big Sam Rayburn, located in the piney woods of the eastern part of the state. This week, Clark is turning over the reins to Elite Bass Pro Mike McClelland. We're going to preview stop number 1 in the Texas Team Trail, a brand new tournament series kicking off right here on March 10th. Now, we'll look at the rest of the stops later in the show, but for right now, let's kick it off at Sam Rayburn Reservoir. At normal pool, Sam Rayburn takes up more than 114,000 acres. But a long Texas drought has brought water levels down, and the lake is currently about 11 feet low.
Oh, there's a fish right there. I was just getting ready to say, there's two things I'm gonna look at Rayburn, and that's either fishing these points like I just caught this fish on, or the drains. I know I've talked a lot about the drains, but really these points are probably the second thing that I would really look at if I was coming to Rayburn. If these fish are in a pre-spawn mode, there's no doubt they're gonna be on these points. If they're really starting to get to that spawning point, that's when they're gonna start filtering up through these drains and really start getting up there where you wanna catch them. But tell you what, that wouldn't be much of a tournament fish, but there's nothing like catching them on a stick bait. And this would be another bait that might actually play. This is probably more of a pre-spawn, a winter pattern. But if the lake does stay cold and these fish stage up on these points, you can catch some big ones on a stick bait too. It's a healthy little fish, isn't it? Dang. Like I said though, if you take a look at this, this is just an ideal situation. You've got drains that come in on both sides of this point. You've got some isolated brush piles, some isolated standing timber, and that's the key to catching them when you come to Rayburn in the spring. Man, it's crazy. I was here probably 15 years ago, and this lake was about 7 or 8 foot low. And to see it this low, it's like 13 or 14 foot low right now. It's just unbelievable. This stuff here that is all out of the water was, just under the water. So, you were following these old drains that swing up by these old sand flats and stuff. And that's essentially what these fish do is, they just get in these drains and they move in and out through the course of the year. And the whole key to Rayburn is the grass. Anytime you get around, well, I say anytime you get around grass, it's hard not to get around grass on Rayburn today. And these fish just follow these drains in and out, and you mix some hydrilla in with a good drain and some good creek channel turns, and you're gonna run into bass like that one we caught a while ago. Come on, baby. Not much of one, but that is another Sam Rayburn bass. I tell you what, this is a perfect example of some of the things I've talked about. It's just simply the fact where these fish are gonna be. As you can see right here, we're back in a drain. Well, really, you could call this a creek channel. That's one thing about it. When you talk about drains, you're kind of talking about the little drains that come into the lake. But right here, we're more in what I would consider a creek channel. This is Little Caney Creek, and you've actually got the creek channel that runs right down the face of this bank. And basically all I'm doing is catching fish that are more than likely, these fish have been out deep, it's cooled off, they've come back shallow, and now as it's getting even colder, these fish are starting to migrate back out these creek channels. And that's the same kind of stuff that's gonna be going on when these guys show up here in March for the Texas Team Trail Tournament. I'm gonna tell you right now, this little spot right here is probably as good an explanation about the things that I've talked about today and what's gonna take place this spring. The way this lays out, you've got this drain that swings right in here tight, and you can see how much sharper the bank falls off. The drain swings right up against this, so this is where the fish are gonna travel up. You've got a pea gravel point right here that offers perfect spawning areas. And if the lake comes up, like we had talked about it doing, all you need is about 8 or 10 foot of water, and this thing's gonna be pushing up into those willow trees. Then you get a couple more feet of water, then it's gonna push up into the pine trees like I was talking about earlier. So of any place that we've looked at on the lake today, this breaks it down probably as good as anything we've seen as far as what I've talked about. The travel routes, the spawning areas, the places you might potentially flip fish. This is what it's all about on Sam Rayburn. This is it.
Hey, come check us out on Facebook. Send us your pictures and your questions. We want to know what you're doing out on the water. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Triton Boats builds equipment that professional anglers and serious amateurs look for in tournament bass boats. Their attention to detail in the factory means that once on the water, anglers can focus on the fish. So if you're looking for a tournament-level boat that offers an advanced blend of fishability and performance, stop by your local Triton dealer or visit them online at tritonboats.com. We'll be right back with more from Fishing Texas.